Hey everybody, Jim Spignato, Strategic Solutions Consultant at ProArc. Again, I'm here joined with Greg Dodge, my partner on our team at ProArc. Greg is a Strategic Solutions Architect, and today we're going to talk about something pretty relevant right now, and that is the transition from Horizon View to Azure Virtual Desktop, especially in light of VMware's acquisition by Broadcom, and what that means for Horizon View users.
Thanks, Jim. It is a really big topic, especially with all of the changes and the fluidity in the market.
So, Greg, the acquisition by Broadcom has, to put it lightly, shaken things up. What should organizations currently using Horizon View be thinking about?
Yeah, the acquisition has definitely introduced some uncertainty, especially with Horizon View being spun off from Broadcom, right? Organizations really need to look at the long-term viability of that as a separate company and Horizon View. And it's a great time to evaluate your options, such as Azure Virtual Desktop, as a more stable and future-proof offering, right?
Right, yep. So with all these changes, what do you see as the risks of staying with Horizon View?
I'd say the main risks revolve around reduced support, slowing of innovation. With Horizon View being spun off, it might not receive the same level of investment and developer focus as it did when it was part of VMware. This could lead to some challenges in keeping up with new technologies, security updates, and those, innovation and security updates are really important in today's rapidly changing IT infrastructure landscape.
So let's say if you made that decision for all of the reasons you've just specified, what are the key benefits of moving to Azure Virtual Desktop as you see them?
Sure. Yeah, Azure Virtual Desktop offers several benefits. Better integration with Microsoft 365 and other Microsoft offerings, lower infrastructure costs, enhanced stability. Plus, with changes on the Horizon View side, AVD is a much more reliable option going down the road and looking forward.
Okay. So Horizon was really truly known as having great scalability. How does Azure Virtual Desktop handle scalability compared to Horizon View?
Yeah. So Azure Virtual Desktop is designed with cloud scalability from day one. You can quickly scale up or down based upon your needs, and it's all managed through the same management plane of the Azure portal. It simplifies that process and makes it much more straightforward. Horizon View relies heavily in on-premises infrastructure, making scaling potentially more complex and costly depending upon what you want to scale from. AVD is a cloud-native architecture, and it makes it easily handle spikes in demand without overcommitting resources.
Right. So it's really pay for what you're using, right? So you and I both know this company's name, Nerdio, and this is a tool that we use a lot. So let's talk about Nerdio Manager and how specifically it can help with the transition from Horizon View to AVD.
Absolutely. Nerdio is really the shining star here. It automates the deployment of Azure Virtual Desktop, making any type of transition way smoother. It sets up virtual machines. It manages user profiles. It takes care of a lot of complex janitorial tasks that you have to do, and it allows you to focus more on providing the solution than managing the backend environment or what makes up Azure Virtual Desktop.
Sure. Yeah, I could get it. Can you walk us through a typical migration process from Horizon View to AVD and incorporating your Nerdio Manager?
Sure. So the very first step you want to do is assess your current Horizon environment and identify which workloads and which users need to be transitioned. Once you've identified those, Nerdio Manager can help you do a pilot for AVD where you can test with a small subset of users and kind of work the kinks out to make sure that you have a great solution. Once everything is fine-tuned and you've got it the way you want it, the rest of your users can move in phases, and Nerdio will automatically manage the capacity to bring on those additional users. You won't have to do it yourself. It automates all the VM creation and the profile management. And while it's doing it, it's also optimizing and managing your costs, which helps keep the overall cost of a migration down.
Cost is a big deal, especially this day and age, especially considering the changes that Broadcom has made. What can organizations expect in the terms of cost savings?
Sure. So with Nerdio's automation and AVD's pay-as-you-go model, you can potentially see some significant cost savings since you're only paying for what you need. Yeah, you're not dealing with an overhead of maintaining on-prem physical hardware infrastructure, and it's just a much more efficient way of doing it. For instance, keeping it on only during business hours and then scaling down while everybody's asleep and not paying for those resources.
A big thing that we hear a lot about VDI environments is the user experience. So how does AVD compare to Horizon View in terms of both performance and usability?
So user experience is actually one of the areas where AVD really shines. I mean, it does. It's fully integrated with the Microsoft ecosystem. Users have a very seamless experience when accessing virtual desktops. Performance is better, especially when using Nerdio, and you're tapped into Microsoft's global infrastructure, which ensures low latency, high availability. And Microsoft's environment means there's less than a learning curve because you already know Microsoft, and there's a lot of things that folks can already do out of the box.
Sure, yep. So what should organizations consider when actually planning their move from Horizon to AVD?
Yeah, so as we spoke before, you really need to assess your environment and understand user needs. This is a good time to figure out, do you really need everything in your VDI environment that you have today, right?
Sure.
And then you got to look at your application requirements. Maybe those have changed. You may have moved to a lot more SaaS applications. And data storage, right? Do you need to store everything in the user profile that you're storing? Some of that is transitionary data and caching type data. You should look at moving users over in batches or phases to ensure it goes smoothly and it has very minimal impact on daily business operations. And Nerdio Manager basically is helping you the whole time as it simplifies the deployment, the infrastructure, the Microsoft Azure infrastructure, and reduce risks because it has best practices baked into it.
Right. Well, I really think this is going to be a very helpful conversation we just had for folks that are thinking about switching from Horizon View to AVD, or if they just want to learn more about how this stuff functions. We're here to guide you through the process. So if you're interested, reach out to either Greg or myself, or visit our website at www.proarch.com, and we'll try and make that process as smooth as possible for you.
Happy to help, Jim, and looking forward to seeing more companies make the switch to Azure Virtual Desktop with Nerdio.
Thanks. Just a reminder, check out the resources linked below for more detailed information. And once again, thank you for watching.